Okay, this video is a little bit about Postman, how to use it to test some things, and we're doing an API here that's sort of like Venmo, and we call it Tenmo, where you request and send money from one account to another. So first of all, just how it works. We've got this. This is a user interface in the console, and we have three choices: register, login, or exit. So if you can see this, please choose an option. We'll go ahead and register. Fine. And for now, we can enter anything. So I'll just call it test2 as a username and test2 as a password. Okay, it says registration successful. You can now log in. Okay. At that point, once we've registered, we should be able to test some of these things in Postman and see if they're working. Let's first take a look at what do we got here. I think we're in the client side right now. I'm going to want to get out and go to our, whoops, okay, the server side. Yeah. So let's say we are, putting or posting or getting something. Right now I'm in my controller, and but let's look at the JWC. So getting all transfers. This is going to be a get for the database, and you can see like this is going to kind of talk to the database. Fine. In Postman, we'll even start by, all right, once I register, we got to log in first. I'm just going to show you what would need to happen right now. What would typically happen the first time is we would go into the body and then type this in this format, and it has to be like exact, including like there has to be a space here, there has to be a space there has to be a comma there, has to be exact. The first time that you do this, we would say send, and it should test it and authorize it. We would have had to go to authorization. In authorization, there would have been something called a token. You can see, however, the token is already here. We would have had to grab the token, put it into the authorization, and there would be a little box here that we sort of paste that in. And then from then on, you don't have to keep using the token or getting a new token. It's going to kind of let you log in automatically. So fine, I hit send, and it's showing me that I've got an ID, 1005, username, test, blah, 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 blah. Okay, great. So we can get going then. At this point, you can test some of your methods in here, like get all transfers. Does it really get all the transferred? This we need to know to talk to our database in SQL. We're using pgadmin for that. But what about for Postman? Postman's going to take things that look, well, they are URLs to get to your endpoints, okay, which is just again a URL for the API. We were going to this login, but now let's say we wanted to get transfers. That's not going to be at the login endpoint. We got to go find it somewhere else, and it's not here. Where would that be? We need to go over to the controller, okay, and this one, this is probably these things in each one of these methods is going to show us what the URL is going to look like, or at least going to give us a pretty good idea. So for this list transfers, which I believe is gonna get all the transfers. This is what our URL looks like without the quotes. So let's just Control C and bring this back, and let's try transfers. Okay, so this URL, oh, by the way, I do this a lot. I brought over an extra slash there. There should be two here, but there should only be one the rest of the way, and it will give us a bad message if I try this, right? URL contain a potentially malicious string. Oh no, okay, that's what that means. So let's get rid of one of those, and let's see if it allows us to do this. Oh, by the way, I left it at post. We want to get these things. All right, we want to see what the transfers were. Fine, send. Okay, this is giving us all of them. 3001 is the first one, 3002, 3003, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right, and this was an updated one. That's why 3004 seems out of order. Okay, great. What are some other things that we have that we want to test in our program? Here's another get. We could get by ID. You can see that then the path for that is a little bit longer. All right, and notice these curly brackets here. What does that mean when we're talking about Postman? Let's go ahead and copy the whole thing over without the quotes. Oh, just move that. So let's get everything except the quotes and that first slash. Don't get the slash. And let's bring back Postman. And instead of transfers, pause this. Okay, so we got this URL or endpoint in here, but if I send this, it says bad request. So it's not going to be exactly as it looked in in Java. In fact, the stuff that's in the curly brackets, this is asking for user input, and we need an actual ID, a transfer type ID. If you don't know what that is, you can go back to your database, and we're using pgadmin, and this was a transfer ID, right? Transfer type ID. Well, for us, it could be any one of these then. We're going to find it by ID. So let's try 3002. So that's what's going to go here. Whoops. Great. And need the slash. And nothing. Okay, so once again, it's not exact. In this case, we don't need type. But if I believe this will work for us. So transfers, give it the ID. And here we go. Transfer ID 3002 is a type 2, a status 3, account number 2004. It went to 2003 in the amount of $8. Great. Let's try like a little bit more. So these are all gets. I'm not gonna do a create right now, but let's do the put. This is going back to our how to transfer. We've got a method talks about updating. Here we go. Update the transfer status, right? And this is talking to SQL, and it should change the balance, it should change the transfer status from whatever it is now to whatever it updates to. So fine. Here's the endpoint. Okay. And let's go back to Postman. And this is an update, so that would be put. All right, and let's put, no pun intended, and don't forget, no double slash. All right, that's bad. Um, and all right. Okay, so again, this stuff in curly brackets here, that's going to be passed in. So let's change that to a an actual transfer ID, which once again, we could find some sample transfer IDs here. And we'll try this. And surprisingly, that actually worked. Let's